5 animals with strange body parts. Of all the living things on the planet, we're arguably most familiar with our evolutionary neighbors, the animals. We've always coexisted with animals for millions of years, maybe in peace and harmony, or maybe not. Anyway, that isn't changing anytime soon. While some animals appear very familiar with our basic body structures, some do not quite fit into the box. In today's video, we bring you the top 5 animals with strange body parts. Are animals in a world of humans, or humans in a world of animals? Which one is it? Well, you're probably not in a position to make an unbiased judgment. Why has our number 2 on this list confused scientists for decades? Our number 1 pick will probably change how you see these animals and leave you caught in a whirlwind of thoughts. Okay, let's find out. Number 5. Stomach of sloths. Okay, you probably already know the sloth for their speed, or let's just say, the lack thereof. Well, apart from being the slowest mammal on Earth, sloths have a pretty weird stomach that accounts for 1/3 of their body mass. Yes, you heard that right. 2-fingered sloths have this weird stomach supported by 23 pairs of ribs. 46 ribs protecting a body part is pretty weird. Uncle Ben would say, with great power comes great responsibility. For the sloth, things aren't quite Spider-Man-ish. You could probably say, with great size comes great problems. Sloths have the slowest metabolic rate of any mammal on the planet, which means it takes a really long time to digest any food material through their 4-chambered stomach. You know, something as simple as a leaf could take up to 30 days to digest. The bigger the better. The more the merrier. Well, not with sloths. This big stomach could potentially lead to their death. Sloths could die even with a full stomach. This is because sloths can't control their internal body temperature. They completely rely on the environmental conditions to be just right for them to survive. This means their daily temperature could fluctuate as much as 10 degrees Celsius higher or lower in relation to their environment. This means if sloths get too cold, their stomach microbiota could die, and they'd no longer be able to digest the leaves they eat. So even on a full stomach, there isn't much guarantee of the next day for these lovely creatures. Slowly but surely, oops, not this time. Number 4. Parachute flaps of the flying frog. The flying frog. I guess that sounds like a superhero froggy. Well, let's just say, in a world of frogs, it's pretty much a superhero. But much like bats, they can't actually fly from the ground, but rather from heights. Batman if you like. Commonly known as the Wallace flying frog, this frog is able to glide from tree to tree with the aid of very thin flaps between its fingers and toes. This way, the flaps extend their surface area, and their webbed flaps extend like a parachute and enable the frog to glide up to 50 feet through the air from a diagonal angle of 45 degrees or less. Parachuting, basically, or gliding if you like. Flying frogs are predominantly found in the tropical rainforest of Southeast Asia and were named after Alfred Russel Wallace. He discovered the species in the Sarawak on the island of Borneo. Much of our universe remains unexplored. Do you believe there are other animals, especially non-birds, with such flying or gliding abilities? Let us know in the comments. Who knows? You might be the next Wallace. Number 3. Giant anteater's tongue. Tongue theatrics are probably a more prominent feature of reptiles, but this mammal is just as impressive. A giant anteater's tongue can grow as long as 2 feet, or 60 centimeters in length. Strangely, they can extend and retract this tongue 150 times in 60 seconds. That's 2 to 3 times per second. Now that's amazing! The tongue is covered in spine-like protrusions that help grab insects, and its very flexible nature makes maneuvering any kind of anthill or termite mound very smooth. The tongue in this animal seems to be some form of superpower, as their saliva-coated tongues can slurp up more than 40,000 per day, which is quite impressive considering anteaters sleep for 15 hours a day or more. Thanks to their super sense of smell, which is 40 times stronger than that of humans, it helps them know which species of ant or termite to hunt down. Although they're much faster, giant anteaters, just like sloths, are edentates, meaning they do not have any dentition. Well, since they're anteaters, technically they don't need teeth. Their diet consists mainly of insects, worms, and occasionally fruits, so they don't do much crushing. Hence, their strange noodle-like tongue is so precious to this animal. Well, if you had the world's longest tongue in the animal kingdom, that'd probably be just as precious. Number 2. The eye of the horned lizard. For most of the animals that made this list, their strange body parts are organs they use on a daily basis. But for the horned lizard, its unique eye will only be called to action in the heat of a predator-prey situation. This right here is one of the strongest defense mechanisms on the planet. Everything about the horned lizard screams bold. Firstly, their diet is mainly composed of ants, and they love to prey on harvester ants. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Harvester ants. Pogonomyrix maricopa is the world's most venomous insect. So horned lizards are bold if you ask me. Their mucus helps to envelop and immobilize their prey so it doesn't harm them. Well, if you had a body akin to an armored tank, you'd probably be just as audacious. Horned lizards have a small, armored body with spines running through them. As bold as horned lizards get, they're not short of predators in their habitat. Their eyes have developed a peculiar defense strategy that involves a gun spray of blood bullets. They fill their ocular tissues with blood, and when they feel threatened by a predator, they shoot the blood from their sinuses out. The blood gushes through their eye socket. This pretty much confuses as much as frightens the predator to stay off the reptile. Two constricting muscles around the eye cut out blood flow to the heart and build up rapid pressure in the eyes to cause a gush of blood through the eye. The jet gush of blood can shoot as far as 4 feet into the surrounding area. Horned lizards can repeatedly use this weird eye gun to squirt blood repeatedly in a short moment. However, it's really not clear to scientists how these weird eye squirts are always available as many times as the lizard needs this defense mechanism. The rapid recovery is just as weird as the mode of operation. You know, some of our favorite superheroes are based on animal powers. Batman, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, the Hawk, and many more. So if you could have one powerful animal defense mechanism from the animal world, what would that be? Let us know in the comments. Honorable mentions. This list won't be complete without some honorable mentions. So here are some animals with weird or strange body parts that couldn't make our list. The octopus is pretty much the smartest invertebrate in the animal kingdom, but it also has 3 hearts. One heart circulates blood to the body, while the other 2 pump blood through the gills where they obtain oxygen. Talking about hearts, another aquatic animal, the shrimp, has its heart in its head. Technically, the heart may be just below the head, but an exoskeleton covers the head and thorax, so you could say it's a heart in the head. Madagascar and Australia are known to be home to some of the richest biodiversity of animals on the planet, as well as some of the rarest species. The former is home to the ii, a unique primate with what scientists have described as a pseudo-thumb. They also have very strange and long multi-purpose fingers that make them look like those of spiders. And of course, the yellow-orange faced katydid, with ears in its leg. Okay, that's enough honor. Let's get to our top pick. Number 1. the fingerprint of the koala. Now, this is where it gets interesting. A detective's worst nightmare is probably solving a mystery murder or finding a mass shooter's motive. But if this happens, this could be potentially worse. But there are many ifs. Why? Well, koalas are marsupials who climb trees with babies on their backs. And you know, they're pretty much shaped like a cute, innocent-looking teddy bear doll. But they do have fingerprints that are identical to humans. Now, identical here means pretty much identical. Even with the close analysis under a microscope, scientists can't differentiate between koalas and human fingerprints. The loops, the whorls, and the ridges are pretty much the same. Perhaps you should know that koalas aren't the only ones with identical fingerprints to humans. Gorillas and chimpanzees also have similar fingerprints. But that's pretty much understandable because they're our evolutionary neighbors, and the closest to human behavior. Koalas and other marsupials, such as kangaroos, are not exactly our neighbors in terms of evolution. So it's kind of weird they developed these prints individually. The lifestyle of koalas makes grasping an important necessity, and that explains why they have these prints. They are very selective in their insect diets, and these prints come in handy. In a detective's lifetime, there will probably be no need to worry about a koala on a crime scene. There's about a 1 in a million chance that happens, but you never can tell. If it does happen, you can be sure that it'll give investigators no small headache. What are the weirdest mix-ups you've heard of at a crime scene? Let us know in the comments section down below. And be sure to check out other interesting animal videos on our channel.